Let's jump right in. Welcome to this deep dive analysis. Today, we're breaking down the actual science of habit control, and we're specifically tackling this massive, honestly kind of crazy misconception that floods the internet every single year. We're going to systematically unpack the real biological realities of habit reduction, looking strictly at the medical and psychological facts. So, if you've ever tried to forcefully break a long-standing habit and just felt completely overwhelmed by the whole thing, you are definitely in the right place. We're cutting through all the online noise to look at what the science actually says about making sustainable change.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever actually attempted one of those massive internet challenges? You know, the ones like No Nut November or some other 30-day pledge where you just swear to completely stop a deeply ingrained habit overnight. You go entirely cold turkey, right? And hey, for the first few days, maybe you feel like a monk who's achieved ultimate enlightenment. But what happens next? If you're like the vast majority of us, that sudden deprivation doesn't lead to instant nirvana. Honestly, it leads to intense frustration, unbearable urges, and usually a relapse that leaves you feeling way worse than when you started. We're always told that going cold turkey is this ultimate test of discipline, but did it actually work for you? Or did it feel more like your body was literally fighting back?
Part 1. The 30-day challenge myth and why going cold turkey actually shocks your system.
Okay, let's really get into this. The entire foundation of those 30-day internet challenges, it's basically a medical illusion. There's this huge myth out there that abruptly stopping a habit, especially a physical one related to sexual release or masturbation, is going to instantly lead to total self-mastery, this massive spike in your sperm count, and just act as an instant cure-all. But to understand why that fails, we have to look at what's actually happening inside your body. When you take a physical habit your body is totally used to and just shut it off instantly, you trigger a physiological response known as withdrawal. This isn't just you lacking willpower. It is a severe physical and emotional reaction. Your body is suddenly deprived of a chemical release it expects as its baseline, and so it panics. Understanding that you're experiencing legitimate withdrawal is absolutely crucial. It's the very first step in removing all that shame from the process.
Dr. Neha Mehta makes a really brilliant clinical analogy from our source material here. When you abruptly quit masturbation or a deep-seated sexual habit, the physical withdrawal your body goes through is biologically comparable to the withdrawal you'd experience when quitting alcohol or tobacco. I mean, think about that for a second. We would literally never expect someone to seamlessly drop a heavy, long-term smoking habit overnight without experiencing some severe side effects, right? Yet somehow we expect people to drop other deep physical habits instantly without a single bump in the road. It's wild. The physical response is legitimate, it's severe, and it absolutely demands to be respected, not just ignored.
Because when you do ignore that physical reality and just try to power through purely on motivation, your body pushes back, hard. The symptoms of this sudden stopping are incredibly intense. You might experience extreme anxiety, like just feeling this constant, unexplainable nervousness all day. You'll get hit with intense, sudden urges that seem to totally hijack your brain out of nowhere. You'll likely face emotional instability, maybe lashing out with uncontrollable anger over the smallest little things. And physically, your body might react with nightfalls or wet dreams, simply because it's frantically trying to regulate a system that you've just suddenly shut down. When you experience these mood swings and physical reactions, you probably blame yourself, right? But the science shows this is a completely natural biological pushback. It's just your body telling you, hey, I'm not prepared for this sudden drop in stimulation.
And this brings us to a quote that brilliantly illustrates the core flaw of the internet's favorite method. The source material powerfully states, it's not possible to repair a 30-year habit in 30 days. Let that sink in for a minute. If you've been engaging in a behavior for years or even decades, your neural pathways and physical expectations are deeply wired. Expecting to completely rewrite your brain's chemistry in a single month through sheer willpower, it's a total fantasy. Honestly, this realization should completely shatter the 30-day illusion for you. If you've tried to stop overnight and ended up relapsing, you shouldn't feel an ounce of shame. You were literally just trying to force an impossible timeline onto your own biology.
Part 2. The step-by-step solution. Focusing on tapering for sustainable control.
So, if abruptly stopping doesn't work and actually just sets you up for failure, what is the right way to gain control? Well, we need to completely shift the narrative away from stopping abruptly and move toward a calculated, deliberate strategy. The medically grounded solution to overcoming this, or really any deeply ingrained habit, is gradual reduction. It's also known as tapering. Let's walk through how this builds, step by step. If your current habit is, say, twice a day, your first goal is not 0. Your first goal is step 1, dropping to once a day. Once your body stabilizes there, you move to step 2, going from once a day to once every 2 days. Then you gently extend it to every 4 days, and eventually to just once a week. From there, you can push to fortnightly, so once every 15 days, and ultimately down to once a month, or whatever frequency represents healthy control for you personally. You are literally training your brain to need less and less. By gradually stepping down the frequency, those withdrawal symptoms we talked about earlier are minimized. It makes the whole process actually doable and sustainable. The real game changer here is understanding the stark difference between these two paths. On one side, you have the internet's favorite method, going cold turkey. What does that get you? A sudden biological shock, dangerous move swings, and a very high chance of relapse. You fight your body, and guess what? Your body usually wins. On the flip side, you have gradual reduction. By pacing yourself, you're giving your body the necessary time to naturally repair itself. It's sustainable, it's steady progress. You aren't shocking the system, you're gently guiding it to a healthier state, which prevents that inevitable, frustrating relapse from happening in the first place.
Part 3. The path to recovery and the real physiological rewards of repairing correctly.
Now let's talk about the good stuff. What happens when you actually get this right? When you stop fighting your biology and start working with it through gradual reduction, you don't just avoid those nasty withdrawal symptoms. You actively unlock some incredible physiological rewards. According to clinical observations from our sources, the long-term body repairs are extensive. As you gradually reduce the habit, you're going to see improved sperm health. For those experiencing issues, there's a notable improvement in nerve and erectile function because the local nervous system is finally getting a chance to repair itself. Your body can redirect its resources, which leads to stronger bones and a visible reduction in that feeling of weakness in your eyes and peripheral nerves. Plus, without those constant massive spikes and crashes of dopamine, your overall mental clarity and concentration heightens significantly. These aren't overnight magic tricks, guys. These are real structural biological benefits that happen slowly as your body actually heals.
And that brings us to the absolutely crucial takeaway of this entire analysis. True change requires time for your body to prepare and repair. You just cannot rush biology. The overconsumption and the addiction mask the natural state of your body, and unmasking that takes patience. By utilizing this step-by-step approach, you are finally allowing yourself to feel the real physiological changes that a rushed 30-day challenge completely ruins through sheer stress and withdrawal.
Which leaves us with one final, super important question to ask yourself as you approach your own habits. Are you trying to change for a day or forever? The 30-day myth is all about a temporary sprint, and that almost always leads to a crash. But gradual reduction? That's about building a rock-solid foundation for the rest of your life. So it's time to abandon those stressful, totally unrealistic internet myths and commit to a lifelong, sustainable journey of self-improvement. By respecting your body's need for time, you aren't failing. You're actually ensuring that you finally succeed.